And welcome back. That was Islands from their new album, Should I Remain Here at Sea? And that was their song, Back Into It. But we are now joined by Michel Weatherall. He is a local Ottawa author. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. How are you, Adam?
I'm good. Very good. Staying cool right now on this, what promises to be a very, very steamy Tuesday.
It sure does.
But hopefully, and it looks like at least it'll be sunny on Friday, which is good for you because you are going to be partaking part of the Byward Market's Authors Market.
That's right.
Just tell us a little bit about what that is, and then we'll chat a little bit about.
Well, I just recently found out about the Authors Market. It is on the Byward Market on the corner of Byward and George Street, so it's a fantastic location. Excuse me. It's one of those outside kiosks like you would see with the vendors for the produce and that. And it's right outside the front entrance of the building proper, so it's a great location. And I think it's City of Ottawa Markets Management has put it together to encourage visitors in our region to check out the cultural scene and support local authors. It's a great opportunity to get you out there. You can meet people, they can chit-chat with you, promote your stuff. I think it's a great idea because Ottawa is rich with a lot of these literary talents.
And so when are you going to be there, and when can people come see you?
I'm going to be there this Friday on the 29th between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. I'm also going to be back in the end of August on the 26th as well.
So lots of chance to come by. And so you will have some of your works with you?
I will. I'll be carrying everything I have there. I have most of my works are a trilogy of horror fiction. The Symbiote, the second book is The Hunt Symbiosis, and the third book is Necropolis. There's also a fourth piece called The Dark Corner of My Soul, which is a collection of dark poetry. That'll be available there as well.
And so your total series is going to have 5 books eventually, correct?
Well, it's kind of a tricky one. In the ebook formats, there are 5 books. The third book, Necropolis, is actually 3 parts as ebooks.
Oh, okay.
In the print edition, there are only 3. All 3 books are included in Necropolis, 3, 4, and 5. I am working on a 4th part of the series, which kind of is going to wrap up all the loose ends of the storyline, but that's probably a good ways off right now.
And so for people who are unfamiliar with your work, broadly speaking, you sort of describe yourself as setting within, broadly speaking, a sort of Lovecraftian
That's right, yeah.
world. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what that means for people who are unfamiliar with the work of somebody like H.P. Lovecraft, and why that appeal, why that sort of that aesthetic style appealed to you when you started writing this.
Well, one of the questions I get most often at book signings and events is, what's the nature of your work? And I kind of cringe when I say horror because today horror tends to be, especially in the movie formats, it tends to be slash and gore and shock. And I don't really think that truly is horror. I always describe it as less gory and that nature and more of a cerebral kind of horror. Lovecraftian horror deals with the horror of the unknown or possibly what's unknowable. The interesting thing where my work is similar to that yet deviates from that is in your traditional Lovecraftian themes, the main character is usually always a recluse, always an academic, always male, and it doesn't deviate from that very much. In the first book, The Symbiote, the main character does fit that criteria for sure, but as the story progresses, by the time we get to Necropolis, the majority of the main characters are actually female. They're not academics, and they are very hands-on, and they're not damsels in distress. And I kind of find it, I never even noticed that before. It was a reader on Goodreads pointed that out. And it was interesting to see that. But the other point as well is, in the progression of the Lovecraft theme, the more towards the end of the series you get, the more towards Necropolis, the last book you come to, you start coming across the full-blown Lovecraftian monsters. Lovecraft, if I had to generalize it, or cosmic horror, it's dealing with the fact that we as humanity are minuscule and really insignificant. We're more or less a weed that grew in the absence of the true universe's owners, and it's difficult to best describe them. Alien, elder gods, anything but what we might imagine. We're not very important in the grand scheme of things.
And the most sort of common Lovecraft monster being that people probably know about or at least have heard is Cthulhu.
Absolutely.
But what do you think what do you think it is about that sort of aesthetic style and those themes that have been so resonant throughout the course of the past 100 years? Because Lovecraft was publishing almost 100 years ago now, and he really set the basis for a whole literary genre that still has tremendous appeal, despite in many ways being rooted in assumptions of the past century. So, what about it do you think speaks to a modern audience?
Well, the one thing that always intrigued me with it is he successfully, and it's not until you've read a lot of the works that you realize it in retrospect afterwards, that he's one of the few authors that managed to successfully merge sci-fi, aliens, black magic, the occult, yet doing it under one kind of umbrella. And it's not it has been attempted, but most often than not very successfully. I think he has done that, and it's almost an explanation of what we might perceive as magic could very well have been just not so much alien technology, because you don't see his monsters aren't so much alien in the sense of spaceships and tech, although you do touch upon it sometimes. The majority of it is just it's so alien, it's so ultra that we don't even grasp it. And we see that theme throughout a lot of his work is often the characters, once they've stumbled across the truth, is they're driven mad by the revelation of it.
And I very much enjoy the Lovecraft works, and I could talk about this all day. But unfortunately, we have to move on. Okay. So for the details again, for people who are interested in coming by and getting your works or talking to you.
For the event, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, on this Friday, July 29th, I am at the Byward Market, the Authors Market, and I'll be there from 10 to 3 in the afternoon. On August 13th, at the Parkdale Market, there's a book fair which I'll be at as well. And then on August 26th, that's another Friday, I'll be back at the Authors Market.
And if people are interested in finding more out about you or acquiring your works and they can't make it to one of these events, how can they do that?
Well, so far all my titles are available on ebook formats if that's your preference. It's on Amazon, it's on Kobo, Barnes & Nobles, Google Play, Apple iBooks, and Smashwords. There's also a promo going on right now. Last week I was on Kate Hunt's Literary Landscape,
yes,
where you go to that on the Facebook page and give your favorite Lovecraft story and or inspired Lovecraft story, and you can get free promo codes for The Symbiote and A Dark Corner of My Soul. Also, if people prefer print editions, right now you pick up titles at Perfect Books on Elgin Street, Chapters in Canada, Centrium, Black Squirrel Books and Cafe, Kobol's Corner in Canada, Comet Comics on Bank Street, Coles and Billingsbridge Plaza, Octopus Books and The Glebe, Singing Pebble Books carries it, and Books on Beechwood have some, and I'm hoping in September there'll be some copies available in Coles and Bayshore.
Perfect. So there's lots of places to get that. And again, if you want to hear more from you, you're on Literary Landscapes, which people can listen to on CKCU On Demand. So thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully you have lots of visitors on Friday.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. And that was Michel Weatherall, local author, and he's going to be appearing at the Authors Market, which is in the Byward Market on Friday from 11 to 3. But now we are going to get to